Hello, YouTube fans, here again. And as lately I've been talking about Friday the 13th, why not, why not? Friday the 13th, part 7, The New Blood. That's right, Friday the 13th, part 7, New Blood. Now, after the success of Friday the 13th, part 6, they decided why not make some more, money talks. And they wanted to do something different this time, you know what I mean? Originally, you may or may not know this, they were going to do like a Freddy versus Jason. Even back then, in the late 80s, that being 1988, they were going to do a Freddy versus Jason. But as people may or may know this already, New Line Cinema and Paramount are two different movie companies, so they couldn't have the rights at the time to use the Freddy versus Jason. It was only, let's say, in 2023 they managed to get the rights because, as we know at that time, the Friday the 13th was bought by New Line Cinema. They were no longer Paramount. So there's a bit of history for you. So they decided to do sort of like a carry sort of version of Friday the 13th. Carries against a different company. What I mean by that is you've got to do with magic psychic powers, you can move things with a mind, you can see things what are going to happen before they happen, and that sort of ability. But I do actually love the opening of this. I love it. I mean, it's all bits from all the Friday the 13s. There's a lot of number 6, a bit where Jason gets dragged under the water all over again, and all that. And, you see Tommy say he stood by because he's not in this one. So it's quite good to see all that again. My only issue with Friday the 13th, part 7, A New Blood, is it's one of the most censored ones. Remember when I was saying about all the ones that are censored, and at the first one, yeah, it's good to see uncut, but as soon as you see the sequels uncut. Just like number 4, the final chapter, this is another one that is so fucking censored. It's so censored, it's unbelievable. And sadly to say, the director who did this is no longer with us. May he rest in peace. But at the time, the director wanted to do sort of like wanted this to be really bloody. And it's like he said, censorship and the MPA raped his film. And that's exactly these words. They literally raped the film. If you ever want to see the Friday the 13th in its uncut tap, go to Rambo for Life. You've got a channel, and I've seen it, where it's taken off like a VHS. I like that. It's that old stew feel. And he blended it in with all the actual uncut scenes. And the only way you can see it is on YouTube. Sadly to say, the quality is pretty bad deteriorated. But it's the only way you're going to have the looks of it. The looks of you're seeing it in its uncut tap. All the murders, the death scenes, Jason slicing and dicing like he does. The only way. But even though it is badly cut and censored to shit, I still like this one. Because I like the story of it. You got a dir, right? And you got the idea the father slapping the mum. The dir's on a boat. She's throwing a temper tantrum because, the dad slapped the mum. And he says, I hate you, I wish you were dead. Like lovely little girls say to their daddies and mummies when they're angry. But big mistake, because she's got special powers. She accidentally knocks her dad in water and he goes underwater and you assume he's a goner. You got the idea, it's a couple of days later, she's a little bit more going up now and she goes to this special place where else, people with problems. And she's got a psychiatrist, so I think he's a fucking dick. Because this psychiatrist, instead of helping her, he's just using her because she has these magic powers, like started to piece it, you can move things with your mind. And that's what I mean by it's like Carrie versus Jason. And she's upset and she's wishing her dad to come back because, she felt guilty. She never meant it. It was, it was temper tantrum time. But by accident, she resurrects the one person. She resurrects Jason from the water, where he was left off in number 6. And that's when he goes on a killing spree. Your typical slice and dice. And sadly to say, like I say, biggest amount of it is cut to shit. It has to be the most cut down, bloodless one. And it would have been in its uncut tap, this would have been the opposite. This would have been the most bloodiest, the fightingest, the most bloodthirsty one ever. There's one scene in it, right, One scene in it where he gets a lad and he cusses his head. You don't see that much, see a bit of blood, but on the uncut one, he literally cusses his head to a tiny little pea. You got blood rushing out of his mouth. Oh, it's beautiful, just beautiful. But you don't fucking see it because MPA and censored bloody cut it. I mean, there was original death where a dude gets sliced in half again, MPA, so they sort of copied the scene, like I said in number 4, they copied the scene where Jason gets a dude and throws it out of a frigging window, which to me just copied off that one. You know, the twin sisters, where one gets flung out the window by Jason. Similar, same frigging death. But even though it is cut down, it's still a dudden. I can't go boo-hoo at it. You know, you got a lad in it, and I'm thinking I've seen him before. He was in The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. He was in the second Hills Have Eyes, the 80s one. And you got an idea there's a love interest between him and the Doo. I've seen her before. She was the one that played in House 2. But I like her in this, you know, she's been out a lot of things in the 80s and 90s, you know, and I like the idea she's got added to pieces, she can move things with her mind. There's that few times where she's not fucking chasing on his ass. And, you know, you think he's a goner, but come on, it's Jason. We know he's not going to be a freaking donner. I love the scene where you got one girl in it, right? She's a complete and utter fucking slut. She's a bitch, and she just wants to fucking snog every guy going. She's a slut, and she's a bitch. And she's horrible to this girl called Tina. She's horrible to her, the one who has the special powers. But she gets a well-done death scene. I know it's a lot more bloody than the uncut one. Sadly again, never going to see it. Where Jason gets an axe and slams it on her bloody head. And I'm thinking, yay, nice one, Jason. Because I didn't like her, she was horrible. I'm thinking, oh, come on, Bill, bit of order. It's only a movie. Get over it. It's a movie. Not being realistic. I don't wish people to get axes in real life. Chill out. Sorted. But anyway, let's get to good axe on the head. And I love it. So you got Jason. I love the way Jason looks in this. And this is the first time you get to see Jane Hocker. Jane Hotter, as you may or may not know, played Jason twice. I've heard a few times in the 90s. He played the first time he makes his appearance here as Jason. The second time in Jason Takes Manhattan. And Jason Goes to Hell, he played Jason. It was only in Freddy vs. Jason. Just got rid of him, which pissed me off. But it's still not a bad one for what it is. You know, it's not a bad one. As I say, he kills the mum off the girl called Tina, but he just get a good death in this Jason. He goes after them, and you get the mask of him, and you get a bit vehement. Now I do know over the every sequels of Friday the 13th, there's always times where you get to see his face, and I always notice in every Friday the 13th sequel they always alter his face, always, and it's the same they altered it in Jason Takes Manhattan one there after this. Because I like the way he looked in this. He looked pissed, he looked frightening. You can see the anger in his face. He definitely don't want to mess with this freaking Jason. And he goes on fire. He's about to get Tina. And then I felt the ending was a bit anti-matty and a bit cheesy and all. Even though I don't like that word cheesy, I'll say it. Because what happens is the ghost of the dad comes out. Somehow he's a good guy, even though he battered the mum. Drags Jason back in the water. And it ends with him diving off in the ambulance. Now, I do know there was an altered ending. Same as for a bit more where there was going to be the dose of a dad looking more like a skeleton. Again, MPA. But I do know originally there was an ending where you got a guy doing some fishing. And then Jason jumps out of the water, very similar like he did in the original. Only this is like the Dolan Jason. And he drags a fisher. The guy's doing his fishing on a boat. Drags him in water. And it was going to be the end of the film. But that's not in the film. But it was the original ending for people that are interested to see that on YouTube if it's still out there. So it's not a bad doing, it's just the same. The MPA and your board of fucking censors got the mitts on it. But other than that though, like I said about repeating myself, it's still a dud. And because of that, I love it. So that is Friday the 13th, Part 7, A New Blood. Into then I'll do some more movies, more movie reviews. If you like what you see, press that button and give me a nice sub or leave me a nice comment. Into then, see you soon.